All right, let's check out the news. Coinbase. All right. So, Coinbase surviving on USDC interest as year-to-date losses top 2 billion. Who wrote this? Steven Stradbrook. Coinbase's year-to-date losses now total 2.1 billion as retail traders grow tired of going broke on America's largest digital currency exchange. Someone give this man a raise. All right. So that is digital. That's today in the retail guillotine. Maybe we can try that again. What would be the news segments? You would have financial news, and you would have sports news, and you're supposed to have celebrity news. It's like we're designing the sexy action news channel. This just in. You're not supposed to like Kyrie Irving. That's the sports news of the day. Okay, so we got sports done, financial news, we read that already. Let's see what's happening in celebrity news. Let's see what's going on with Kodak Black. Welcome to Syndicate News.
What's in the news today?
I think I read the most honest introduction to an article I've ever seen in recent history. It says, remember Coinbase?
I do.
So the title says, Coinbase surviving on USDC interest as year-to-date losses top $2 billion. And the first sentence is, Coinbase's year-to-date losses now total 2.1 billion as retail traders grow tired of going broke on America's largest digital currency exchange. Good stuff. We did it in time. Isn't that scary? That's scary. Now imagine people who are just living their normal lives and may never see that headline. And then one day they wake up. Is your audio coming through? Are you on?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, good. I can hear you
Mic
now.
check,
Oh,
mic
great.
check. 1 2 1 2.
Uh, Casey, I'm doing the news portion of the metasode. I'm not. Did you see the latest with Coinbase?
No.
Can I read you
Yes,
something?
please.
This just in from. Is it financial news? Is digital currency considered financial news? I
Let's
don't
just
know.
say yes,
Anyways,
yeah.
okay. The headline is from CoinGeek. Coinbase surviving on USDC interest as year-to-date losses top $2 billion. Article goes on to say Coinbase's year-to-date losses now total 2.1 billion as retail traders grow tired of going broke on America's largest digital currency exchange.
Hmm.
Did you also notice that Binance is liquidating themselves
From
and their
FTX, yeah.
relationship? What is that? Okay, hold on.
So I just heard
So,
yesterday in a space the bear market's not over until FTX is liquidated.
oh my God. Okay, so Ali, so let me explain. So, remember how in like June, July, you had Luna collapsing, right? And then you had um, uh, Three Arrows Capital collapsing and Celsius collapsing. You had Voyager Digital Holdings collapsing. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I was doing a thumbs up as I remember.
No.
There's a
Oh,
lot
okay,
of.
sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't saying thumbs up. Isn't it good?
No,
There's
no,
just a
no,
lot of
no. Okay,
cars.
good.
Oh, that's right. I
But you
forgot.
remember,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
have the Luna, and then you have Celsius and Three Arrows Capital and Voyager Digital. And because there's debt contagion among them to seek outperforming returns from the market, they all go down one after another. Now, Voyager Digital Holdings Inc. was in bankruptcy proceedings to see if they could salvage some of the value in the assets. From what I understand, and Casey, tell me if this is true. Now the company who is endeavoring to acquire Voyager Digital Holdings customers also is now being having their involvement with the world's largest crypto exchange severed.
That was an accurate way to say that.
So you're
Holy
saying
crap!
Shingo still has a chance? Am I wrong?
So,
Hold
Sam
on.
Bankman-Fried and CZ Binance have philosophically parted ways due to Sam Bankman's regulatory stance. CZ has said, "Fuck you! I want nothing to do with you. Get out of here." And they've liquidated or are in the process of liquidating the FTT, which is the FTX token, and trying to do it moderately slow so as not to sabotage the value of the token. But they are accelerating their exit from FTX. Yes. They're trying to not incite a civil war by just dumping the coin, but yes. And they
So
and even on that news it lost 10%.
there are companies like MicroStrategy, right? That may be liquidated if Bitcoin goes to a certain price. On the upside, they could be the richest people on the planet, right? I don't think we realize how many other institutions that's true for. But overall, what you're saying is Shingo still has a chance.
I mean, there's always these sparks of hope, right? Like, U.S. attorney just announced a historic 3.36 billion cryptocurrency seizure from the 50,000 bitcoins that were stolen from the Silk Road marketplace exploit.
Yeah, Metcalf. Yep.
So they are touting that they've recovered those 50,000. So will people who were wrecked earlier on that now come out with their holdings intact? You know what I mean? So there's always these little sparks of maybe potential. Because like, ha ha ha, Shingo's got a chance, but kind of anytime there's a spark with an open source, maybe sometimes.
I'm just saying, has his chance of succeeding gone from 1% to 2%?
Like 0.01 to 0.1.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. Hey, I need help with
Mm.
cleaning up my verbiage because I want to ask for help with something, but I don't know how.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If I had the Wombo
Just the tip.
API,
Okay, go
just the
ahead.
tip, if I had
Mm-hmm.
the Wombo API, could I then integrate Wombo into a spatial so that people could use my Wombo account?
So I guess my first question is there a Wombo API?
Yes.
There is a Wombo API.
I was in a space earlier this morning, and a guy was like, "Yeah, I've been granted the API to Wombo at a blah 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 blah."
So if there is a Wombo API, I'm looking it up right now. My next question is, but can you use it in Google Colab? Because that's all I know how to use.
So if I have an API, am I treating it like a file to
Um,
be or I
so
have to tie the API to something to be used, right?
so the API allows you to have a conversation with a toolbox, essentially. Be
Okay.
like, does that make sense? Through
Yep.
code. So the Wombo API is essentially a toolbox that you're going to say, hey, and it's very similar to what you've been using right now, to be honest with you, right? Think about Playground or any of these things, right? It's just an interface that is converted into a request that computers talk back and forth with. Um, now, where is this Wombo API? Um,
Wouldn't that have to be granted by Dream?
yeah, they have API keys for that.
There we
Oh,
go.
unofficial API for Wombo Dream. Refactoring, Node.js. So I'm going to do something. Um,
So
you know, I realize, yeah.
I want to babble at you for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think I have developed a prompt formula that is stable.
Gotcha. Not easy
Right?
to do.
No, no, that has been challenging. But I think I've got it figured out to the point where I can hand it over to anybody and say, think of two different characters, any characters. It could be historical, fictional, mythical, whatever, and just put those character names in, and it will blend them consistently without giving you like, weird images.
The Dream API enables businesses to generate beautiful copyright-free images using code. The API is more powerful than our consumer web app and gives users additional control over the width, height, resolution, number of artworks generated, and input image weight. Any image created using the Dream API can be used for commercial purposes as long as it follows our terms of service. Have you signed up?
I mean, I'm a paid account.
No, I'm requested a demo for the business.
No, no,
Oh, okay. Here, one sec.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. I found the right
So
page.
that's how it's done.
Basically,
That
if
makes
you get
sense.
this, um, Why is not? Oh, okay. So I'm gonna send it to Drizzt. There you go. Those are the B2B forms, and they'll tell you the pricing. I can't imagine it'll be too out
So
there.
so now the next step is going to be to hook up with the spatial boys and ask them really how to integrate this into a space.
So what would be the interface in the space? So I'm in a space right now, and what do you want to see happen
I,
as the
I
experience?
want you to have two fields, character one, character two.
Mm-hmm.
Type in two names, and the image is generated. But there's no selecting styles, there's no selecting any other parameters. It's just two names, they're blended, that's it, it's done.
And once you have this image, it's displayed.
Yes,
And once the image is displayed, can the user do anything with it?
they can do a screenshot and they can have the image.
Okay. Oh, is it? And you? D does uh how to create an app within Spatial? Is anyone doing that?
I don't think so. Not that I've looked a couple times and I have not found any.
Spatial.io creating apps. Is there ability to create apps for it?
I so the Oops, sorry. So I think that the limit there. How do I say this? Spatial doesn't allow for standard app downloads. Like you can't typically download an app, but my thought is if I can download um, the
They don't have anything like app creation
no,
or
no,
widget
it's not like
creation.
Roblox
You
where you
know,
can integrate. They have well, you can integrate your Google Docs. You can integrate your Office stuff, and that's what I was thinking to use um, to bridge to the API. Would be just like a standard form type form on Google Docs. So when you're in Spatial and you go to upload, it gives you there's a option there for integrate or integration, and that's where you can link your Google stuff. So I think I can use that and the Wombo API, so I can use my Google Forms to drive the input for Wombo. And I don't even know if that makes sense. I'm sorry.
I like the idea of using Roblox more and
Dude.
more every day. That's what this discussion tells me.
And cause also I'm looking at what Spatial's doing in terms of how they're growing and changing. They're going in the right direction, but they're way behind.
It, do- it doesn't matter if you create something better than Roblox if your target market are people under the age of 16.
Mm,
Like, that's the whole, Roblox is the
yeah,
Facebook of kids,
yeah,
is the Twitter
yeah,
of kids,
yeah,
honestly, right? And you're going to go build some shittier
totally.
version of Twitter? Yeah, try. The switching costs are their
Yeah.
entire social network. And so we're going to build this stuff in spatial so it become a
Well, so
graveyard.
that's why I was trying to think like, can I use? Is it can are any of the platforms at a point where you can even get a representation of the other platforms? Like, if I had a spatial, let's say, or Roblox environment, whatever, where I had a live Twitter space that I could interact with, And at the same time, I also had a LinkedIn live that I could interact with at the same time. Then you start looking at linking all of them under one roof. So it doesn't matter if you're on Roblox or Spatial or on Twitter or wherever, you can have an expanded audience that's connected through all those.
Yeah. The interoperability will always be there. Like even now, I put my LinkedIn below, right? Now, only probably 1% ever click on the LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
but it's there. It's there for a reason.
I have to say, side note, after putting my LinkedIn, I have gotten a lot of traffic off of Twitter Spaces and the LinkedIn.
Dude, telling you. Yeah, it's a stupid,
Yeah,
simple
yeah.
funnel, but it works. And believe me, if you added a
Oof.
Calendly, you
I
would get a
have
lot of
really
bookings.
been adverse to Calendly. I know.
Dude, I sent out a Calendly for the voice acting class, and I got friggin'
Oh
8
gosh.
bookings right away. And I'm like, I'm never booking things again. I'm like, this just did all the booking for me.
Mm.
And what I did is I locked it off for very
Right.
specific times, right? So it's just these times, find it. And people, it's like they self-select on their own. And it's free.
It's hard to beat.
I'm trying to automate everything. Fucking everything.
Rates came down just a little bit, not like anybody cares.
So you're saying
There's
there's
a
a chance.
chance. The rally's on. Bull market's in effect. Yeah. What's up, Am?
Hey.
Mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Okay, so I ran down the story idea to these guys
Oh.
right after you left, of course.
It's a beautiful story.
Thanks. It's about I'm just gonna. I don't know if I can paraphrase it, or but I guess I'll try.
Yeah.
If you're interested. Okay, so how did I start it? See, this is the problem. I was super into I got into it last time, and I told the story right.
Because you were imagining a live recreation of it where you're walking through the pages and you've got
Possibly, yeah, possibly. No,
So how
but the
does that
story
start?
it's okay. Well, it's about the theme of it. It's about the how plants talk to each other through an underground network. And if you have a plant, if you buy a plant from the store, it's its own echo chamber. It's not connected to the network, right?
Okay.
Connected to itself, and it's known as itself, and it can only hear itself. You know what I mean? But it can. This is in the story. It can see other plants, but it can't speak to them because it's not connected. But then, so the story goes is like the family takes a plant, takes a little baby like tree, and then feeds it in its pot, and then all of a sudden they take the pot. The pot is too small, so they're like, let's put it outside, and then the plant gets or the tree gets planted into the garden, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, the exploration starts, right? The information, like, whoa, I'm connected now. It's kind of like that's the story in short.
Okay. All right. I'm feeling
Yeah.
that. So it's the almost surprise of realizing that you were never connected before and there's all these communications to interact with and be part of.
Sure, but you can go even simpler and deeper. You know what I mean? Think of it as a metaphor for everything. You know what I mean? Because it is.
I like that. I like
Because it
that.
is.
So
Yeah.
the story of the plant being raised and then exposed to an environment where for the first time it can hear the talking of its kin.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then like along the way, like as it grows inside, it's it maybe a little fungi does end up in there, so he's got a friend in there. You know what I mean? Or like a worm, or you know what I mean? Like
Insects, birds,
insects,
yeah, okay.
like like just think of everything being able to communicate with each other, which they can. We just can't. We just don't understand everything, right? So that's the yeah, sort of the gist of it.
All right. So, and you want to do a spatial on this? You want to do a
Well, I
spatial
wanted to do a
representation of that?
physical book first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then, like, because I think physical books, especially with kids, this isn't just for kids. It's like all ages. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A
Yeah.
story of all. It's going to be written for all ages. I want it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do want it to have a physical book with it, as well as the interactive. Right? I think that's the. I'm not just cutting it off at just digital. I want physical.
I mean, I like that, and you know where my mind goes. I'm like, okay, QR codes on every page.
Right.
you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a way to do, you know what I mean? There's a way to do this. And yeah, I'm determined to kind of figure it out. Because I mean, regardless of whether it's going to be in this space or not, it is going to be. I want it to be a book, a physical book.
Dude,
So
you can totally do a QR code that triggers an AR pop up.
yeah, yeah.
Where you take your phone and point it at the page and it
On
reads
this
the
page,
QR code and then the pictures on the page kind of come to
yeah,
life.
it's like both, right? Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. But definitely have the physical, because I think that's honestly then people still buy books for the, you know what I mean, especially these types. I think, especially if it's illustrated beautifully.
AR stories.
Mm-hmm. AR stories in real life.
Yeah, so you actually go out and buy the book
Yeah,
and then
yeah, it's connected. Just like
and it's yeah.
just like we have now, like they
Yeah.
have now. Yeah, it's just
By the way, guys, a Roblox update. I tried to import the underwater planet. It gave me an error message. Contains more than 10,000 triangles.
Ooh. The poly count is low. Okay.
Just so we understand the parameters, right? It may
Mm-hmm.
work with simpler
10,000,
models.
man. That's nothing, dude. That's why everything is squares. That's why.
Oh,
That's why Roblox. So that's how they're mitigating the load on the video load is by making everything super low res, polygon, square block.
I love every time you say load.
Say what?
I like every time you say load. It's just funny to me.
You're a horrible person. You're a
Yes.
horrible
And
person. Yes.
so so what Anne's getting at is you do that stuff and I'll do the art.
Yeah, I'm getting that. That's the formula there.
yes,
See,
yeah.
this
I
is
mean, if you want to,
it's KC as a
only if you want
service, is what it is.
to. Yeah, only if you want to.
So like you have all the art for the book?
No, I
Okay,
do
so
not.
you need art generated for the story.
Yes,
How many pages is the book?
I don't know yet.
How many pages do you have so far?
Unclear. Well,
Okay.
well, because it's a picture book, right? It I'm not I don't know how to space, how many how many sentences do you know what I mean?
I can there are book templates out there. I could also show you what Ali did, right? Ali was able to lay everything out in a Google Slides presentation that can be sent off to a printer, right? And it provided the basis for Casey to lay out all the images.
Yes, that would be step 1.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, step 1.
Casey, I like it. Casey as a service.
Yeah.
Hey, want to do something? Tired of people being assholes? Well, that's why we created Casey as a service. That's right. Casey is a service. He's a cis white gender male, but not that kind.
But not that kind. That's awesome. That's
It's like,
awesome.
he might present as a male Karen, like visually. It's not the case. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Male Karen.
Because that's what a
What?
lot of people think, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you take one look at Casey, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You'd be like, look, I know the way this guy votes.
You
I know he talks
crooked
about
son of a
voting
bitch.
Democrat, but
You white collar
right?
motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, you know what? One of the realest things that a guy ever said to me is, he said, just remember those like Karens going crazy, like in their interaction with black folks, they voted for Obama. So they vote
Ouch.
their support, but
Ouch.
interpersonally, they don't treat.
Ouch.
Well, it's the
Ow.
darkest thing I ever heard, dude.
That is.
You,
Ow.
you,
That
you
fucking
remember?
hurts.
You remember that scene where there was like a guy jogging in the park with his dog or something like that, and then the woman called the cops on him, right? Saying I'm being
Yes.
attacked by a black man.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so I talked to a black guy about it. He's like, yeah, basically trying to weaponize his skin color against him over the phone. But he said those same people acting like that, they voted for Obama. Just know that, like, they will present as.
I know people like that personally. You know what I mean? Not my friends, but I know them.
Yeah, I'm not saying Obama's bad. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, stated values versus practice virtues. You know.
What a slap in the face, dude. Oh yeah. You can have that stuff. We don't really care about that. You can have it. That's brutal.
Look, I think that, Casey, you have an opportunity as a cis white gender male to help minorities. You know, and I think you can lead the charge. See, we're not all that bad enterprises.
I like all that bad. Like, yeah, there's a little dirt here, but we're doing good.
Compared to what?
Yeah, compared to what? I like that.
What if the company was called Compared to What?
All right. So on my project list right now, Peter is up next. While I'm working on Peter's spatial, if you work on putting together whatever you have in as much of a chronological order as possible, that's what helps me the most.
Oh yeah, Allie has it all, and she has the microphone here. So there's just going to be a time when we
No, I'm
have
talking to
all. Yeah.
AM.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, as far as I'm concerned, Allie's is mostly done. Beyond the support if you guys want to make changes. Next up is Peter, and then after that, I can hop on to AM's project, and AM while I'm working on Peter's. If you get your material, whatever you have, start getting that ready
Will do.
in order. Then I can go from one to the other.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
cool.
thank you so much, Casey. I know you're very busy.
I'm keeping myself busy, like my industry shit
But
the
I'm like,
bed,
oh, you're
so.
exploring your artistic side. Let's exploit that.
Everybody gather
Well,
around
while
the
you're
warm
still like
fire.
young and like fresh and like want to help. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding.
So I kind of think I'm onto something in terms of like the NFT collection and the spatial and whatnot. I kind of think that if I do whatever sales I have right now are enough where I could start doing like paid services to spatial to tokenize the spaces, and then I could go around and set up spatials for projects that are tokenized so that only their members can access them. So I could go on a spatial building spree and sell the spatials, basically. And they'd be tokenized.
And maybe this might help because I have a feeling you like to do what you like to do and don't like to do what you don't like to do. So I'm sending you a quick video of Ali's book.
Thank you.
Because
I took a look at Casey. I took a look at the OpenSea link that you sent me. That stuff is
fun pictures, right?
Yeah, those are awesome.
Those are fun. I'm hoping it's fun and like brings a smile. It's a little lighter and brighter. You know, who's not gonna smile at a Green Lantern Winnie the Pooh?
Have you thought about adding narration like Ali has, like little paragraphs?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I just haven't had the time because I go from creation to finishing work to minting to creation to finishing work to so I'm just in the creation phase, and yeah, I
I'm
have
just
though.
thinking
Yes.
about like if people have already started buying, then the one thing that you notice in Ali was it wasn't just the images; it was the
Yeah.
description with the images. So I wonder if the same thing would be true for you.
Maybe I've thought about it, and because I'm doing one of ones under a theme. I don't feel like it's necessarily the best for this collection.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking about it for my painted faces collection though. I think the painted faces might be a good match for that because there's a lot of
At what point in NFT sales do we get an ascot gifted to us? You think?
when you mint out your collection, when you've sold your
Oh yeah,
collection. Hmm.
that's when you can wear the ascot.
That's when you get to smell your own farts and talk about how
Oh,
good they
wicked!
smell. Yes, yes.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, smelling other people's parts are far too long.
I've loved that analogy since it came out on South Park.
Oh, it's amazing.
Just a bunch of people talking about how smart and great they are, smelling their own farts, talking about how it smells like roses. That's fucking great.
Man, you, you know the challenge with starting a podcast is after I do the first episode, it's like, all right, I don't want to do that anymore. Like we did the disaster, right? And it was a disaster. And I'm not apart from me
I'm
kind
I'm
of,
gonna I'm
you know.
sorry. I got to tell you something. I'm a little disappointed.
Hmm.
You really missed the boat on the disaster show. It could have been so much more.
Well, I was learning Python with Venetian Web 3 for a good 3 hours.
Okay, but I mean like a little.
Like, should it be more? Should it be like a haunted house of
Dude,
Twitter
yeah, I
space
mean, well,
disasters?
okay, I guess I'm an extremist, I guess, and I your
No, I like
disaster
it.
show to apocalypse is
Yeah,
where
you're an extremist, and then everything blows
yeah,
up, and you fucking get to say as listener, and I have to deal
yeah,
with all
yeah,
that.
it's fun, it's good entertainment.
Fuck. I thought
It's
I was the puppet master. If you were the puppet master, the whole movie. Da, 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 da.
dun, dun, dun. But like seriously, add a little Safe Moon hashtag or a little Saitama hashtag or BTC, a slurry of, you know what I mean? Really open the doors to the shit show that is. Sorry, that was just that's why I was saying that. AI is not art and Bitcoin is trash. That'd be a great title.
I hold back, dude. You know this, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hold back. But if I actually leaned into, like, really leaned into it, maybe I should try that.
Hey, can I bring something up which is weird? And I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have to maybe talk it out. Okay, so like, how can I say this? Okay, so there's all this photography being sold on this platform Tezos, for very cheap, right? For like pennies. I mean cents, dollars. And these are amazing images. What I find gross is that people in not developed countries, but countries like America, Canada, you know what I mean, where a cup of coffee is $5, but then you have people living in other countries, like in other parts of the world, well, $5 is your rent. I think it's gross that people living in America, let's just say America are selling their art at the same price as the people in developed countries because they don't need that five. You know what I mean? Like we don't need the $5 for our amazing piece of artwork. Like we need like $200 for that piece because that's the market price of a fucking beautiful piece of artwork over here. Like why are Americans or people, Canadians, whatever, these people who live in houses, who live very comfortably and are selling their art, are competing against people who, $5 means a lot more to them than $5 to me. Like I'm feeling. Is that a weird feeling that I'm having? I don't know.
No, it's because you have people who are impoverished and skilled,
Yes.
willing to mark down their product
No, no.
because they're fucking poor.
Well, no, no, no. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I mean, uh,
And then you have the affluent people who don't really care for this one, and I'm going to spend it on coffee instead, right?
but
It's
I don't know. Like $5 means so much more to somebody, say, living it's in Bali. You know what I mean? Well,
whatever. It could be on the streets of America. They could be homeless as a homeless artist, and $5 means medicine, right?
not really, because you got to take that $5 and then you got to take it out of Tez and then you got to convert it. Like,
Mm.
like that whole this whole fucking talk about, like, you know what I mean? This means a huge difference to me. How does
Mm.
you selling your art for $1 competing against someone who's actually $1 would mean a lot more? You know what I mean? Like I just don't know.
I think what you're pointing at is the trap of alternative chain art. When you're selling it on Tezos, you're selling it for the fact that it sold, not for the amount that it sold for. And it's a little bit of a trap.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I guess I'm feeling bad for taking, like, I don't have to have my awesome picture up there for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like I have, you know what I mean? But I did anyway, and I feel guilty for doing it, I
So
guess.
if I make a really nice
Coming from
perfume, am I going to go sell it at the dollar store, or am I going to go to Macy's? I'm going to Macy's, right? This is
Yeah.
expensive fucking perfume. It cost a lot of money to make it. I'm going to go to Macy's and I'm going to sell it there, J.C. Penney. So I'm not going to go to the dollar store. You just have to recognize that Tezos is not the end all be all.
Well, it's
It
not even
is,
Tezos. It's like I mean, Tezos
or
isn't.
or Polygon
Or,
or
yeah.
wherever, right? Because the second you do digital asset trade for your art, you're already accepting a cut.
Right. Right.
You know, you don't want to degrade the value of your art. That's IRL sales.
But I also find it gross because the English speaking people have a leg up on anybody from any of these countries that, like, $5 means everything. You know what I mean? So the advantages are so that it's all fucking stacked.
Don't forget how right you were. $5, quote unquote, means everything to their feelings, not their pocketbook. Because they're still gonna have, even if it's Ethereum, they're still gonna have to transfer
Right.
cash out.
Yeah.
And so, like, you don't forget that you made a really good point there at the beginning, and that's highly applicable because you're sold a culture on it means so much. $10 is the world to me, and really, because you're gonna get like $4 out of it after you do everything to convert it back to your fiat to buy food with.
Yeah.
So what it really means is a sense of validation to the creation of art more so than the pocketbook.
Right.
Until you hit a certain point where, holy shit, this sold for 3 ETH. What the fuck? Like, until something like that happens,
Right.
it's validation of your artistic capabilities measured in cryptocurrency.
Hmm. But it's also, that's true, but then it's also your ability to sell it.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. But that's a
So
different. Go ahead.
I think what we're saying is there is a role for someone to turn an artist's artwork into a gift good. And Casey, I think we're the kind of people that can figure that out. It's not
That's
easy.
that seems like a fun challenge to me.
Seems like a fun challenge, right? Because I have seen Anne's work and I think it's priceless, right? And when I talked to Allie about selling her artwork, she's like, for that? They're gonna have to pay like millions of dollars.
Oh, you better
They want
hurry. You better
they
hurry because my
yeah.
sister, who's been working with special needs as a certified art instructor for the last 40 years, is coming up, and I'll be promoting her work as well.
It's all happening at the same time,
Yeah.
right? And because the world is so vast, there's room for a lot of winners, and there's always going to be a market for emerging brands, right? But the idea is to be able. This is an emotional thing, and to your point, if you want to make real money in artwork these days, it's probably being paid for with fiat. So there's a whole fiat, because we get so lost in this Web3 world that we forget that the buyers that you may be going after may be congregating not on Roblox or Spatial or Tezos or Ethereum or any of these things. It's almost like the real world is now the most uncharted space.
Like, I want to go to our local museum and pitch them on a digital.
That's what I mean, right? Like fishing where the fish are.
no,
Yeah.
you're right. No. So you're absolutely right. Because when you talk to people in the real art world, sorry, not the real art world, the real, whatever, the physical, right, art world, they don't want to even hear about, you say NFT to them, and it's like, it's a bad word. Like, they don't know anything about it. Half of them don't want to know. Half of them are just think it's like fucking monkeys, you know what I mean, on JPEGs, those bored ape, you know, those apes. Like, a lot of people have zero idea, and you're right. It is the the real space is our uncharted territory now. Like,
That's
we're the
product,
ones.
price, promotion, place. We forget about the place a lot of the time.
And Casey, I think that's a great idea. You should do it. They may not understand it. Do it anyway. You know what I mean? Talk to them. And and Casey is honestly the person I would put up
Yeah.
to go to any
And
gallery to talk
he
to
could
the
just
talk
play
about.
into that character. Casey, do you have an ascot?
Would you like the camel hair ascot or the mink ascot?
I was thinking more like Ocean's 13 enemy ascot, like a purple
Perfect.
silk shiny one.
Should I put on my banker's lapel prominently displayed on my collar?
I'm just trying to think. You have to. Do you show up in a Prius? Is that the sign of responsible wealth?
You show up
100%.
in an Uber because Priuses are not environmentally friendly.
Oh.
Oh, right. Yeah, you have to be ahead of the woke curve. Right. See,
Hmm.
that's why you're the man for the job.
Yep. But you show up in an Uber. No, not an Uber, a Lyft then.
A
Right,
rickshaw.
right.
No, a rickshaw. Human. You want to keep a human in the loop at all
Yeah,
times.
that's true. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah.
You basically have to be a city Amish Mennonite.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good.
Like when they offer you coffee, you have to ask questions about where they got the grounds. You like that one? Excuse me. Before the coffee, are those fair trade beans?
Oh my
Don't
God,
laugh.
you guys have absolutely. You have to have seen Portlandia, right?
I
The
saw,
show.
yeah, with Fred Armisen. I've saw
Yeah, yeah,
bits
yeah,
and
yeah.
pieces. Yeah,
There's an episode where it starts off with like they're at dinner and they're like, Sam, they're like, ooh, is this, where is this, what, a piece of chicken from, you know what I mean? Oh, this is, it has a name and it's from this then. They're like, let's check it out. And they go down the rabbit hole of, like, they go to the farm You know what I mean? They like
Yeah,
they end up
yeah.
joining the cult. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's
Yeah,
it's kind of like farm glamping for a day without the sleepover.
exactly. No, Casey, I think it's fucking great. You'd at least be able to explain
And
it to
plus, I
them.
think you look great in a cape.
Oh God, no! It's New England. You can't be you can't be showing up in a cape.
I just had this idea of Casey dressing up as the Count from Sesame Street. You know, just the real aloof guy. But maybe that's not. Whatever works for the cousin.
I've been thinking about going to physical art galleries again and being all like, "Hey, I got these fire photos." You know what I mean?
It's it's interesting because when I think about it, if I say it, it's false. If you say it, it's true. I've often wondered like why there's a need for a recruiter when the people can just talk to each other. But sometimes it helps. I'm not sure if it's a relationship to money thing, but I find that sometimes it's easier for me to ask for a lot of money on someone else's behalf than for them to do it themselves. I don't know. There's a
No,
dynamic
no,
there.
it is absolutely true. This is why we need recruiters. This is why we need. I mean, as much as we might despise the middle person, but yeah, they're handy. You know, they're there for a reason. They're there for the people who can't do who don't who. It's
Or
not
who
that
don't
yeah,
want to,
yeah,
right?
who don't want to who just like
Dude,
whatever.
I
Like there's a
can't.
million reasons why. You know what I
I
mean?
can't like tell you how like I'll meet someone who's making maybe 50 to 60 grand, and then by the time we get them their offer, they're making double that, right?
Yeah,
And a little more.
yeah.
And it's like it's almost like you're keeping because each side has their own truth that they're trying to impose, right? The
Hmm.
candidate wants to has the incentive to lie about their skills because they don't want to get paid more. The employer to drive down the salary has the incentive to say, "Oh, but you don't have this. Oh, but you don't have that." Right? So they're constantly trying to impose their truth on each other and use that truth to come up with an arbitrary number. And so I end up knowing both of their truths.
Hmm.
You're right. I know how bad of a shape the employer is in. They just lost their best person.
Right.
And I know the candidate is, stands to fucking change their life by making double
Yeah.
overnight. For doing the same job they're doing now, by the way. Right?
Right.
So in fact, they might be doing less for more in this fucking economy, right? Especially immigrants to be like, hold on, the whole job is this, just this,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
know a
Yeah.
lot of I know a lot of like my friends in like DevOps, which I really don't understand what it is. I guess it's just making sure code doesn't break when you update it.
Right.
But like some of these guys are working like 3 hours a day. I'm like, yeah, I have some time. I'm done for the day. It's like 10 o'clock
Oh.
in the morning,
Oh my
right?
God.
So people think productivity's gone down, and it's like we've never done so much as a human population,
Right. You just
right?
it's yeah. That's true. That's
Like
true.
think
It's
about it, like some dude with Python. You know how much I've automated for my life with Typeform and Calendly? Is that showing up anywhere where I'm never going to have to talk to people anymore?
right.
Where's that in the productivity report?
Yeah. Whew. All right. What time is it? Oh shit. Okay. I have to get going today. Oh, it's raining. It's lovely today in Los Angeles. It's raining. It never rains, so it's
Nice,
one of those lovely, lovely days. My cat just came in, was soaking wet. I was like, uh-huh. So I'm gonna go. I have to do a bunch of like, because I've been working all week. I've let my real life just go to shit. So I got to go do laundry and clean,
mm,
go get groceries. You know what I mean? Because I'm up.
nice,
I'm up for another like 4 days of like nothing but work and sleep. So
nice. So
uh,
this is your one chance.
I like it, but it does. It's so weird. I feel disconnected from Twitter. Not Twitter. I guess the people I connect with, and I have connected with every day almost. You know what I mean? And then when you don't, yeah, there's definitely been a switch now where I'm like, huh, I kind of do miss these assholes that I met online. I need to go talk to them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it's just life, right? You just you spend a lot. I've spent so much time with you guys, with other people online. It's like when I don't go to work and I don't see the people I know for a long time.
Mhm.
Kind of the same thing. You kind of miss them too.
Sounds like a description of like a Cheers bar,
It is.
where
Absolutely.
everybody knows your PFP.
Yes, it's comforting. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, y'all have a great day. I'm sure I'll pop in again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See you
we'll
later.
talk to you guys later. All right, bye.
Jeff, you're safe and sound. You're all dry.
So the oh yeah, everything's great here. I put a link down below to the Colin the Chicken clip from Portlandia.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah,
You know, it's funny, when I first saw Fred Armisen, I was like, is that Chris Kattan? And I was like, no, but he looks like he's related to him.
I could see that. So we were talking earlier about the people in art not knowing what NFTs are, and I'm trying to find it again. There was something about Art Basel has actually been leaning into the NFTs, and I think they're going to do their own digital provenance, not an NFT thing, but like a blockchain provenance type record to keep track of like who owns what art and things
I
like
could
that.
see that. It would be like you know how you have DistroKid today for your music, right? And if you upload to Ditto Music or DistroKid, you get an ISRC, UPC, and EAN code that allows you to claim royalties every time it's replayed. If they have the same thing for artwork.
Yeah, I know that some NFTs I haven't really looked into it much. When I was looking at KC stuff, I noticed that it says that every time there's a transaction, the original creator gets like a set percentage. I think his is set to 3%. I don't know if that's standardized or not. I didn't realize NFTs actually did that. That's how little I know about them. Which I could see that would, you know, if something goes hot, because the artist is you buy it from the artist studio, and then it becomes like super popular. The artist is only made $5 from it or something. So it would them out if something goes viral.
It's interesting because, there's value in scarcity, right? And we've never had so much artificial scarcity. And even when there is demand for project, it could just be whales playing whale games. And so I think in a lot of ways that the hardest thing for a lot of creators to do will be to focus on making sure the art is good.
Well, I mean, with the AI tools that have only been around literally only a few months, it's already been just disrupted to the point where an artist now has to say a lot more with their art because the tools for generating
Yes, that's what I mean.
quality content
Mm-hmm.
is available to everyone.
The
Like
bar
my
is
wife
higher.
paints. My wife actually paints, but I don't paint. But I might have more imagination that I could feed into a computer than she does. Prompt crafting is like the next frontier. But the AI can't say stuff with the art. It can't give it meaning. It can't make someone think about it unless you prompt it. It really depends on the artist. You can do it with AI art, but the artist, it's hard to describe. The skill used to be part of it, and some of that is going away.
There's no going back, that's for sure.
I mean, that's what Crow's been complaining about. He has an idea in his head about what he wants to create. He can't wield the tools to do it. He has a belief that if only he could focus his will of being into, well, he wants to outsource it basically, and then steer it. But other people could do that for him. They would just take credit for the work because they're the ones doing work. But if he could do it with an AI, I could see. I mean, that's what he wants. You already know the rest of the story, so.
Yeah. My take is that if he wants it, he can make it happen. But he has to decide that he really wants it.
If coding makes you vomit, then get a bucket and pull up to the computer, and one key at a time.
Yeah, and it's like, with things like Fiverr out there, you don't necessarily need the bucket, but it's one of those things where I'm very wary when I hear people who say they can't achieve something. I'm very wary about that.
Yeah, I know if I can't achieve something, sure? I'm lazy.
It's like, are you sure you can't do that? And maybe that's just because I can hack together I can hack together a lot of things at this point, And if I can show someone else how to do it very quickly, then it's like, look, speak your limitations and they'll be yours. But if you're placing artificial constraints on yourself now, then there are going to be more constraints in the future that are going to take us out. So we have to really focus on having the right mindset to approach this, which is this is so important that we're going to push through. And we're going to sacrifice our energy. And I'd rather focus on Clean by Nora. You know what I mean? Who's willing to do whatever it takes. A cleaning business than an AI business. Because as a recruiter, I'm focused on who the founder is, not what the company is.
Yeah, you said it before. Sometimes the founder has an idea, but the founder gets in their own way. You almost want to take the idea from the founder and pass it on to people who can actually execute.
I'm trying to find this quote. Where is it? Ideas open sourced, execution proprietary.
So I forgot her name. The person who was in the space, their illustrated book idea.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name again?
Anna Mariah.
Anne Mariah. Sorry. Hold on a second. Sorry, my earbuds are going all crazy there. Yeah, part of it is it's like, how do you get a feeling, like an idea of, because she's expressing more than just, it's not just a plant, it's the concept of, it could be a person alone, and when they're isolated and they don't connect to the rest of the world, they're an echo chamber, and we know how that goes lately. And then you put them in the social space where they can network, and then they can blossom and flourish. Hard to put. It's like, how do you give someone a picture and have them really have that feeling, have that understanding that it's almost like a metaphor?
Yeah. No, I think Crow will be successful when he decides, when he makes the decision. But he has to decide when.
Yeah. So in Marie's thing, so is she intending it to be more about the plant as a metaphor for humans and or people and how they grow, or is it meant to be more just the plant and not a metaphor?
No, I think it is to be a metaphor in
Okay.
that, you have a forest and every single tree and plant in the forest is connected to a mycorrhizal fungus network that exchanges minerals for nutrients, right? But when you have a potted plant, that potted plant, where there might be a local mycorrhizal network below the soil, it's disconnected from the mother trees and everything else in the forest. So I'm thinking that,
Yeah.
there's an aspect of together aloneness, right? Where imagine you have all these potted plants in a room, like us on Twitter Spaces, and we're connected, yes, by line of sight, but we're not as connected as we used to be when we were stuck together through a mycorrhizal network through our feet and our roots in the forest before we were extracted out and put in our own pots called condos.
Yeah, I think everyone has their relative, especially in down south in this country, south of where you are, of course, where their aunt or uncle has been watching Fox News for 3 straight years, and they're just in this weird echo chamber, and they haven't really been connecting with others outside of that echo chamber. And then they hook up with their other friends with strange ideas and just block everything off.
I mean, we also if you listen to these spaces, we're blissfully unaware of the macroeconomic and geopolitical environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Blissfully unaware, right? And even if I
mean,
brought it up, I'm not sure if a lot of people would want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that might be it. I mean, I used to hang out in these not NFT spaces. The people talking about VR and XR, and it's interesting at first, but they start to talk about the VR world and the technology in this bubble, like forgetting that the majority of people want to vomit as soon as they put the thing on their head and they move it all.
The difference between facts and intersubjective truths.
So, have you developed a what do you call it? A bailout plan for your Twitter space on like Discord if for some reason like Musk decides that spaces on Twitter isn't a thing he wants to be part of and he just ejects it from the company?
Yeah, I mean, with the people that take things to the next step, usually I talk to them on WhatsApp. There are other services like Agora.io that could recreate the Twitter space as well. So I've had those in my back pocket as well. But we've also moved into a different phase of the syndicate where, like, for example, Manish will come up and say, hey, I have a business with 1,500 taxis that takes people to and fro one of India's busiest airports and railway stations. Okay, you know, right? So as we go from more talking about things to helping people execute things in real life, you know, now we'll have a Twitter space and we'll transition to a Zoom call where Manish and Web3 are coding in Python on a Google Colab notebook to generate a subtitle file for a Twitter space. So, yeah, I think for the most part, we've talked about everything. I've said everything I needed to say in these past 4 months. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the Syndicate and Twitter Spaces is like, it's now the podcast that talks about what the Syndicate has been up to. And if that makes sense.
The metasode, I call it.
Yeah. The whole thing is a metasode, because it's like, if the real work is not happening on Spaces, then the Spaces becomes it's the Syndicate show. Here's the great stuff we've been doing. Give us money.
Well, the interesting thing is that the impetus often occurs on Spaces. Zach will come in, Manish will come in, Anna Mariah will come in. You know what I mean? And they'll all say, hey, I've been trying to do this. And then individually, people will vote with their time, energy, and attention. And because of the skill level of the people involved and their complementary skill sets, if they care about it, they can get it done in a reasonable amount of hours, in fact, not days.
What's the topic at the moment? We're talking news. I don't believe it.
Talking of the metasode, because now Jeff was saying the Syndicate is now talking about the things that the Syndicate did away from the space. What do you think about Manish's opportunity?
I kind of didn't hear 100% of it, though. It sounded like he got more people giving him good love after what you created, right?
So the business is this. There is Uber and another taxi service that operates in, I think it's Bangalore, right? And Manish knows the owner of a network of cab drivers that provide a better service than Uber and the other company. And when I say better, it's because of the relationships and the loyalty that the passengers have going from train station to home, going from airport to home. So even if they increased their price or charged more than Uber, people would still use the service. Right now, they're coordinating all of these rides through WhatsApp and Telegram. And Manish is exploring if there's a better way that gets people paid more.
How many requests? How many drivers? How many daily requests?
Get this. They have 1,400 drivers.
Okay. What about daily requests, though, for drives?
Manish
what I'm trying to get at is getting at the proper math to warrant, $300,000 in development.
Yeah. So Manish is meeting with the guy when he goes back to Bangalore. And the agreement is that they share that data with each other.
Sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, it sounds like a good opportunity. But he should probably go in with a proposal versus going in there with, hey, what do you think? He should assume you already got the next two meetings and go in there with conviction. Otherwise, he basically leaves the door open for that guy to go and find someone else who's You know what I mean? Don't go there just to start a conversation. Go there to win the contract.
Right.
So
Great
to win the
perspective.
contract, you should go ahead and and do something that probably represents, like, it can't be, it can't be I'm gonna do something for 20 grand when he knows that alone won't actually survive, right? So go in with the right target, something like 300 grand. Already know which Bangalore related VCs you could tap if you need to, although you would probably say, like, you would even figure out just the money aspects a little bit of this thing so you could go in there and do that. But based on the number of rides, now the only other thing is whether, here's the thing that you are fighting against, though. The big thing. The big thing you're going to be fighting against is learned behavior, right? In other words, people use WhatsApp every day. They don't even think about it, and they do 2 commands, and then they get their ride. Versus now they got to go and download your app, and they got to jump through 600 hoops. You know what I mean? So it's like, it makes. Here's the thing: it makes sense for him to do the app, but he shouldn't be killing off the WhatsApp functionality. You know what I mean? In other words, keep that functionality, but then go build your startup asset underneath. Now, the cool thing is that no one needs to know exactly how much is going to the app versus what's going to the WhatsApp, right? That's internal data that you can keep. You don't necessarily have to share that information, but that would be the cat's meow to the investors, thinking, well, wait a minute, you have the users and you have a piece of real estate. Now you have 2 things to buy. Before, all I could buy was your network of cars, and
Yeah.
you
Like
know
I
what I mean.
asked him, would it be difficult for these folks to put on their WhatsApp location services so we could know where the entire population of drivers are?
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, he's got a good thing there, but it's about figuring out how to capture it and then putting it in some piece of package. Jeff, my man, speak.
Is Does he have any legal issues with being able to pick up at the airport? Because in the United States, there's a lot of bureaucracy about like who's allowed to go to the airport and wait in line, and there's a queue. Or is he gorilla picking these people up like just outside the airport or something?
I think they do it by caste system in India. No, I'm just joking. I'm not sure.
I
Yeah, I
bet
hope
I
so.
bet it's highly unregulated. There's
I
probably
mean, does
not.
he just need people to sit around with like white T-shirts with giant QR codes dancing outside the airport so people can hit the QR code and like, oh, here's my app for the a web app for the pick me up.
Well, odds are he's already recognized by the competition as an annoyance, right? Because he's picking up drivers without a said system or something, and the drivers are liking that service. Like, he's got something. He's got more than a car, or he's completely cheap, or he's leveraging the network of people who want to drive, not taking any of the liability issues. Like, someone gets killed in that car, it's not on him. It's just like Uber, right? It's not on Uber.
So, Michael, did you say these are other cab drivers or just regular people with cars?
I'm not sure how much there's a difference between the two, right? I think, well, for all intents, I would rather have Manish answer that. He would know more than I would.
Because he might have to pay off the cab mafia that's already there before they start a riot and start like beating people.
I definitely think there's a cab mafia in Bangalore. I'm sure there is.
How dare you? Bangalore is an open market, and it's been fact proven. This is financial trade misinformation. It is a free market, is it? Or is it a caste market?
It's a market where people whoever's got a gun and would like you to do something, they will get you to do it. That's the market.
Hmm. And that was the Indian market update from Dan. Dan, tell us about the market. You have a gun?
Yes, the Indian market, everything is going great. Crime is up 100%, while entrepreneurial activity is up 12,000% in India. That's the word on the street. India apparently is the next Silicon Valley. Cows are now more important in India than anything. You can actually data mine a cow for up to 60 cent hours. Here on the Syndicate, we can release you a cow, or we can get you a full bred via Zach's service. And other news, we have. Wait, this is not an episode, is it? Is this going to be an episode? This is not an episode.
I can see Dan running a brick shop now.
Yeah, over here to your left is the prison. Yeah, that's real nice. Everything over here. Then over here to the right, yep, that is. These are all hookers, so just be careful about putting your hand out there, son. Hold on. Just get through there. All right, good job. No, I mean that's the kind of the thing that you can find now on YouTube. You can watch all these clips of people walking around, like Shanghai and stuff. Like that's like the new thing to watch, which I'm all for. I mean, I'm sure.
I'm surprised in the U.S. someone hasn't got open source decentralized Uber competitor that just hooks people up with the app to other people that have the app. You put in where you happen to be driving, and if they're on your route, you get a little ding that says you want to pick them up, and it has a reputation system with no central processing whatsoever. You call it Hitcher.
All right, folks, I'm going off to work. Wish me the best.
All right, I'll do the same
See you,
too.
bud.
All right, guys. Take it easy.